Hi, Scott here. Hope you're well. So we had some good moves yesterday. Unfortunately, there was the FOMC statement and the US interest rates. Interest rates didn't actually change; they stayed as forecasted. But the FOMC meeting itself, obviously, Powell said a few words that made the market move quite dramatically. So the USD is getting strong, and had you traded some of the setups we looked at yesterday, a lot of them played out really well. But I actually stayed away from the markets yesterday just in case, because the thing about news events, especially big ones like the FOMC, is that the chance of it going in your favor is less than 50-50, I'd say, because in your favor is that it moves straight in your favor and reaches your take profit and all is good. But against you is it moves against you and hits your stop and takes you out, or it moves against you, then moves in your favor. By then you're already stopped out anyway. So the odds are not in your favor. So I steer clear of everything, especially as it happens when I'm sleeping. I don't want to wait up until just before the event to close out trades or whatever. So anyway, that's what happened yesterday. We've got a few things lined up today. It looks like the US dollar is still moving and shaking. So we'll have a look at that. See what it's doing at the moment. So I'm recording this 10 o'clock my time, which is early in the Asia session. So as the day moves on, yeah, it looks like the US dollar is really moving here. So the first one I had was Aussie dollar. So we've had the big breakdown below this level here, and today it looks like it's already moving. So the chance of putting back for an entry is not looking good. Actually, it's already hit the S1. So for me, that's not going to be a trade if it does pull back. So it looks like as the Asia session, traders start their trades for the day, they're shorting, or they're buying US dollar. So US dollar strong, and therefore the US is going down. And then when the UK open, they're going to have the same news to respond to. So the chances are they're going to do the same thing. So the chance of that putting back is pretty small. So we'll move on. So Euro Swiss, this is something that was looking a bit, will it not work, go short yesterday. In fact, it did, but it didn't give an entry. But now maybe we're going to get a pullback for an entry. So we see yesterday we had this strong breakdown, and then it broke down again, but never actually pulled back, unless it pulled back here. But if you did jump in that trade, you're pretty brave for that big, well, with the news event happening anyway, plus that 1 hour candle, a very strong down candle and a very strong up candle. If you did jump in a trade short there, you'd be taking a big risk, I'd say. Anyway, it's playing out now as going short. So if it does pull back in the next few hours, could pull back for a nice 1-to-1. The 1 hour 50 is quite a way back. So Euro Swiss, another 6 hours before the volume comes in for the UK market. Maybe that will pull back. In that time, the 1 hour 50 will catch up and perhaps give us an entry. So that's a nice little 1-to-1 for the Euro Swiss. The Euro dollar, another dollar trade. So how's that looking at the moment? We'll see. We had a big bearish day yesterday that broke through this major support level. So it's been going down, trending its way down, pull back to the daily 20, and then it's heading off short again. So have a look on the lower time frames. On the 1 hour, we've got, actually let's zoom into the 1 hour. What we have here, got a kind of trend line happening. As I said, the US is still gaining strength, so it's still moving down, but it pull back, it may do. Euro dollar often plays out in the UK session, so in 6 hours or so, gives it time to pull back perhaps. 1 hour 50 is quite a way behind, so that's not ideal. We'll see how that one plays out. So if it pulls back, see if the 1 hour can catch up enough for it to pull up to the 1 hour 50, break sharply to the downside, and then we can get an entry before the pivot, trade it down for 1-to-1. That's US dollar, Euro US, which is looking possible as a trade. Pound yen, what do we have here? We have this, something we looked at yesterday, I think. So it broke down to daily 50, bounced a little bit, and is now going short again. So my DDP, my daily direction prediction for today is short. Could always pull back and retest this daily 50 anytime, but if we did a fib extension on this is a wave 1 and a small pullback for wave 2, and this is a wave 3 we're in, you can see we've got lots of room to the downside before we get to the target of 1.272 fib extension. This is the fib extension I've got on here. Where pullback and 1.272. Loads and loads of room to the downside. Okay, this is something we talked about yesterday and it played out well. Had you entered the trade, this is for pullback. Not sure why. Oh, okay, so yeah. Had you entered and on the pullback towards 1 hour 50, probably about here somewhere, you could have had a nice trade and still be in it, perhaps, depending where you put your profit, take profit. But as you see, that's played out really nicely. Doesn't help us now though, it's gone. So what do we have? There's this long trend line here that's being respected many times from upside and from downside. So it's tested it again here recently. It's now heading short. Are we going to get a pullback to this, to our pivot line here? If we did, we could get a nice short trade, either 1-to-1, or you could push it a bit further. As a pip snatch is a 1-to-1, or the hyper trade is a 4-to-1. Now, is it going to pull back? We have to wait and see. It looks like it's going down pretty strongly. So we're looking at pound weakness against yen strength. So the yen has been gaining strength the last few days, last week or so, at times. So maybe we'll get a pullback and a short trade come in. 1 hour 50 is catching up slowly. Maybe they'll catch up for a quick trade later on this afternoon. We'll see. Kiwi yen. What are we doing here? The yen play. So again, we've had this big breakdown showing the Kiwi's been very weak and the yen has been very strong. So we've got a nice downtrend. Little pause here, not really a pullback. It's still trending down. No obvious support levels, maybe one there. But we've got a fair bit of distance before we hit these lows here. So there's a good chance for a short trade there. What do we have? Well, yesterday I did show you the 1-to-1 pip snatcher here, and that played out perfectly. Again, it's during the news event, so you're pretty brave to actually take that trade. And now we've already hit S1, so the chance of that pulling back, well, even if it does pull back for me, it's not going to play. I'm not going to play it because it's gone too far already. So we'll ignore that one now because it's gone too far. Kiwi USD, Kiwi dollar. Again, we got the dollar strength from yesterday and the Kiwi weakness for quite a while. That's very strong down trading. Is it oversold? It's already hit oversold, so come on. So we don't want to be trading that short. If you do, take a bit of a risk. Also, that would mean it putting right back to here, which is breaking this trend line. It's already broken this S1 support level, so pull back from here. It's a no trade for me. Wouldn't take that trade. We're really looking now for some kind of trend change. And should it pull back, break this trend line, and maybe even break this trend line here, which is a parallel, like a parallel channel going on there, which it respected last night. So if it does break through that, 1 hour 50, we could be looking at a long trade. Of course, we need to have some proof that the trend has changed. We'll get some of that by the 1 hour 50 break and this trend line break. So if we did get something like, if it does ever stop going down, if it's got a lot of work to do, probably not going to happen. Oh, come on. It's not going to happen for quite a while yet, probably a couple of days at least. So I'll just do that to get this out of the way. So we can trade that up to. So it looks like it's not going to turn around for a while, but we'll keep an eye on it. See what happens. Dollar CAD, probably it's already raced off as well. Going to be 2 bullish days, including yesterday with the FOMC statement here, and it's already hit R1, so that trade is already off for me. It might pull back. 1 hour 50 is catching up. Not looking good either. So there's not really that much on in the very short term. But later today, we've got a few things that may play out. So we'll quickly go through those. Aussie Kiwi, we've been looking at this one for a while. The Aussie has been showing some more strength. We've had this break up out of this above this daily resistance level. Could probably say is there a level there? No, not really. Okay, so we've broken up above that. Now it seems to be stalling at this level. A bit of deceleration, not that convincing. So I'd be a little bit cautious on this one. As you can see with Aussie Kiwi, it can turn around on the top of a hat. So here we've got an overall deceleration, a little bit. Here we've got nice deceleration with the doji, but it's pretty short. This one here, little deceleration. So it doesn't tend to decelerate very much anyway when it changes direction. So you need to keep that in mind. We're really looking for some signal on the lower time frame. We are on the 1 hour. So we've got, get rid of that one now. So this trend line here, is there a trend line? 1, 2, 3 touches. Maybe it's just we're respecting it on the way up. We're getting lower highs. We're getting lower lows. Yeah, just about. So we're kind of getting a trend change happening there. When we get a break below this trend line, 1 hour 50. Right below there. Pull back to the 1 hour 50. And we can trade it down to the 4 hour 50 or further if that's your game. So yeah, so that might play out later today even. That might be, yeah, later today, depending when this breaks. Or if not tomorrow morning. Green Asian pair could well be tomorrow morning. Right, Kiwi Yen. This is another one that played out yesterday during the news event. It played out once, twice, almost twice, and the third time as well. Again, you'd be brave taking that trade. Look at the long-term, high time frames. Okay, so we're getting this pullback. Let's pull back to this kind of major level here. I would suggest it might pull back to the daily 50 and reject it. That's what I'll be looking for, and then we can play it long and continue this run. So if you look at the weekly, we're getting signs that there's a MACD divergence there. So it's looking like it may want to pull back a bit further, but all the time we've got CAD weakness, which is what we're seeing right now, and yen strength is what we're seeing in the short term. So we're seeing to put on this pullback here, we would need the yen to become weak and the CAD to become strong to continue this uptrend. So fundamentally, it doesn't look like it, but we try and trade what we see and not what we think. So if we do get a rejection as daily 50, this uptrend could be continuing. And looking at the 1 hour, wave 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Just keeps on going down. So as I said, we're looking for maybe a rejection of this daily 50, which is green line here. So over the next few days, perhaps, respecting this trend line, next day or so, finally hitting the 1 hour 50, so the daily 50, and breaking up. And then when it breaks up, we'll see a confirmed trend change. So we'll keep an eye on that one. That may play out. I'll probably won't play out today, so I'll put it down, just this down here. It'll probably be a tomorrow thing at the earliest. Euro pound. This was a nice one from yesterday. We had great deceleration. I mentioned this one yesterday, and mentioned this possible short trade that we had, and it worked out perfectly. Had you entered there on the 382, take profit on the 450, you would have done a 1.89% trade and played out perfectly overnight. So that one worked out really well. But what do we have now? So we've had the initial breakout and retest, the 1 hour 50. May pull back again, but I wouldn't take that. I'm waiting for now the CBO. So I'm waiting for price action to break below the 4 hour 50. I will just show you. So it gets up here, probably go up here, reject the 1 hour 50, break through the 4 hour 50, come down here, spend a while, retest the 4 hour 50, and then we can play down to day 20, which is this red line here. And I will support resistance line here as well from a while ago. That seems to be quite significant. It lines up well with the daily 20. That's something that may play out late today, unlikely, probably be tomorrow. I'll probably be tomorrow play. Kiwi Swiss. Right, so we've had this long downtrend on the daily. We've had the MACD, this low here to this low. This is much lower, but on the MACD it's about the same. The RSI is in the below the 30 line, so that's indicating that we're going to get a reversal soon. As I always say, we're not going to catch this falling knife. We're going to wait to get confirmation. But over the next few days, hopefully we'll get some confirmation that this is going to be an uptrend. I think this is what I put in during yesterday. Whoops. Up here somewhere. Didn't break out yesterday, but we're still looking for the same kind of thing. Looking for the break above the 1 hour 50 and pull back. We test the 1 hour 50, then we have a nice trade up to the 4 hour 50. So that'd be a nice IPO. If and when that happens, that could be a while. That's still, Kiwi's got to gain strength, which it hasn't been for quite a while, and the Swiss has been strong for a while, and it needs to lose that strength. Of course, it can happen very quickly. We do have today, Thursday, this afternoon for me, we have some Swiss news. So that could well change the outlook of the Swiss franc. You might find that that's the turning point. The Swiss suddenly becomes weak. We'll have to wait and see what happens there. Dollar Swiss, another one that we'll have to wait and see what happens with this one. So we've had this breakdown, pull back to the daily 50, daily 20. Yesterday, kind of went up, not really down, but still hanging around that kind of zone. Today it's breaking up because of the US dollar news. The dollar seems to be getting stronger than the Swiss is already strong. So I've got some alerts set here. If it does break up here, do a nice pullback and retest, we can take it long. If it breaks down, we can take it short. And I expect the news event for the Swiss later today may well decide what's going to happen there. So we have to wait and see on that one. Last one we look at today is dollar yen. So again, we've got yen gaining strength, but the dollar having strength from the last few days. We've got a kind of triangle thing happening here at this very major, which is the all-time highs, isn't it? Almost. It's been a while. So this level here is going to be very strong. Maybe it's even these wicks. So I have to break down. On the lower time frame, we have this trend line that goes back a bit. I've kind of adjusted a little bit to suit, but that seems to be pretty good. We haven't got we've got a lower high. This high here, we've got a lower high. So it may be changing direction. We haven't really got any lower lows yet, so we have to wait for the break of the 1 hour 50, pull back, retest, break of this trend line as well. Make sure we're not trading through that trend line. And if we have to, we'll wait for the break of the 4 hour 50. That's something to keep an eye on. Also down here, I've got a few other ones which I'm not going to go through because of time, but some may not. The reason they're here is because they're not going to play out probably today. But you're welcome to look through those and see if there's anything there, because things can change pretty quickly. We'll see. Okay, so let me just stop the screen share. Okay. Video, screen share off. Oh, so it's not screen share, is it? Okay, no, it's still sharing the screen. Stop share. Okay. Right, a bit confused there. Right, okay, so there's a few things to look at. Certainly over the next, what's today? Today is Thursday, so got today, tomorrow, and then see what plays out in that time. Hopefully we'll get some nice trades setting up. These news events are a bit of a pain because it can rock the market, and we're in positions and that happens. It can be very frustrating. It stops us out. So we've got to try and work our way around those. Anyway, I hope you found that useful. I'll speak to you tomorrow. You have a good day trading and just a great day in general. I'll speak to you soon. Take care.